Chapter number 2. Let's go ahead and start saying that Feng Shui can be represented as the sum of different stratifications. The first layer represents the whole knowledge acquired for human necessity, like survival and territory installation. Man inside the natural environment has to resolve problems of first necessity, look for a place where he can wash himself, look for some food, create some fire. These factors determine a specific installing modality inside the planning composition that we find, in the same way in every part of the world. So the origins of Feng Shui, as to say its starting nucleus, draws on from universally recognized concepts. In the next chapters we will see more in detail how all this is founded on universal principles that will be developed not just by Feng Shui, but also by other several doctrines like Vastu in India or Geomancy in Mediterranean basin. The problems of survival are felt by man in every part of the world. Man firstly tried to protect himself inside a cave and put a fire ahead in order to defend himself from animals. This defend model was later improved in an installed composition that often contemplated due to the natural forces, the approach to a mountain and a water basin. In this way, man can be well defended with the back of the building covered by the mountain and a clear sight open in front of him. So you start to create a planning structure that will be symbolically called of 4 animals that we'll see in detail in next chapters. Actually, this formal structure arises from control and defend necessity, besides then survival. Indeed, the mountain on the back not only gives the possibility to get some firewood to heat or to take shelter from cold winds, but also to defend man by attacks. Instead, the front, often linked to a water basin like a lake or a river, gives the possibility to move, transport, drink, wash, cultivate, heat under the sun, but also escape in case of attack. In several cultures we find a similar composition, given by a wall of biologic necessities that stratifies a set of planning models that we'll describe in detail later. Nevertheless, planning composition was later influenced by cultural aspects that diversify themselves country by country. For example, we find Chinese culture that is different from the Indian, that is different from the Occidental. Beliefs, myths, symbolism and ritualities will give cultural legacies that will create a specific influence in the urban compositions and landscapes. After this stratification, also philosophic knowledge is laid upon. In China we will find Taoist philosophy and then Confucian philosophy. In Japan the Shinto philosophy. In Occident, Christian religion. This religion consequently determines a series of modifications belonging to the planning weave. To understand it, it's enough to watch Christian and Jewish cemeteries. During my travels in Europe, I've been made curious by this composition diversity. In the Christian system, you can notice a strong hierarchy of composition. Instead, in the Jew system, we find more freedom. This is just due to the religious belief of membership, respect to a possible typology of the hereafter. Then, technical knowledge was added to this layer that modified further on composition and planning knowledge. For example, the Chinese were the first who invented the magnetic compass, fundamental for the compositional analysis, and also invented fireworks, whose powder was later used for the creation of shooting irons. Let's arrive then to the last layer, as to say, superstition. This is an important point because when principles slowly are not understood yet, and the art and tradition are no more alive, you can comprehend how, in some way, knowledge loses the deep principle and just remains a mock-up, as to say, an empty symbol. Again, several methods are repeated, and later will be modified and interpreted without well understand the deep mechanism that brought to such analysis. and then conjectures, beliefs and dogmas that move away from the original knowledge were created. In these online courses, we will make the effort to let these principles retrieve them, and to let you comprehend their origins. The knowledge and the experience acquired, based overall on ancient classical texts, will allow us not to lose in all these diversifications, interpretations, methods, methodologies and schools. In this way, we could avoid to be too much obsessed as regards a doctrine, or too much destabilized if we find different points of view. This is the holistic nature of this ancient knowledge.